let's talk a little bit about sword and shield, and then later we're going to go into double-handed. So the basic guard for you folks for sword and shield, if you're right-handed with a sword in the right hand, is the right foot forward. Why? If I had my left foot forward, it would be an easy target for a right-handed fighter. My left knee would. Now the basic guard is like this with your shield. If you have a punch shield like mine, you see you can put it like this. You got a triangle, literally. In this triangle you can move, and there is nothing that can come in theory. You can parry high and low with a sword. You can parry high and low with a shield, just like a martial arts movement. Just like that. Now, notice that I hold my shield at an angle like this. If I held it like this, then I wouldn't see half of the fighter, right? So just the basic movements from here as strikes that we're going to do on the PAL, just like this, and notice that my back heel moves. My back heel moves into the shot because I'm hitting the guy with my whole body. And when I'm horizontal like this at his head, the shield stays where it is. I can see perfectly. Shield is on edge. If he counter strikes at the same time, I just move it in the right direction. When I get to strike low, naturally, as I strike low, I hold my shield high because it is very likely that he'll aim for a high shot since I'm exposing myself. If I hit low and put my shield low, I'm gone. It's obviously he's gonna take that headshot. So, 1, 2, 1, or 1, 2, and then practice 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So let's do that on the PAL. Notice that I move the whole body for the shot, like that. My whole body going into it. And when I go low, high with a shield. Okay, there's an exercise for you with sword and shield for today. Okay, let's talk again about the guards. We said the 4 fundamental guards in the Lichtenauer tradition are ox, right here on top. There you go. The plow, the fool, and the guard of the day. Okay, to simplify, we'll add to the names and we'll be more specific. But for example, the guard plow, which normally is like this low, can be made a little higher. This is sometimes called the iron door. For all practical purposes, we're just going to call this plow. And this is a basic guard for all sorts of attacks, just to simplify. Later we'll specify a little more. Now, we're going to talk about basic strikes today. Imagine you divide space in an 8-directional cross, like 1, 2, 3, 4, like a plus and an X that gives you the 8 directions. Now, in the Lichtenauer tradition, normally you move forward with the same foot you're going to strike. So if I'm going to strike with my right hand, being right-handed, forward, my right foot moves forward. 1, just like that. Or from guard of the day, 1, always in control of the sword. We never, ever do this. Never. We never are out of balance. We always finish our strikes in balance. With arms stretched out, but in balance. Okay? So, that is a strike to the head, Schädelhau. The next one is called a wrath strike, Zornhau, which is a diagonal. Okay? Like that. Next one is a Mittelhau, which is a medium. In the middle, like that. Like that. The next one is an Unterhau, from down below. Going up like that. As for the parries for those strikes, the one right from above, Schädelhau, it would be like this, okay? You start by offering the flat of your blade, and as you go up, you catch it with the cross of your blade, okay? And if you can, you displace it somewhat from your head. Okay, now the diagonal one, somehow, same thing. You try to catch it with the flat of your blade, and as it comes, it goes into the cross of your blade. Mittelhau, same thing, flat of your blade, and you catch it with the cross. Unterhau, same thing, but inverted. You catch it with the flat of your blade, and as it comes, you get it with the cross. Now, from there comes an exercise that I'm going to demonstrate with my son in a little bit. We're going to make all of those. I got that up in a German fencing school. It's a really good one. I'm getting out of the distance, and then I can get him here, and I can do a cut, or I can come in and do a push. That makes sense? Okay, word 2 on the steps, and this is simplified. We'll get into more complicated steps later, but for now, let's just divide it into basically 3. A full step, like that, where I go ahead of the other foot, full step forward and full step back. A half step, which is like this, where I advance with the forward one and go back with the backward one, like that one. And a cross step, where I move laterally, going across to one side and across to the other. Okay, this is used a lot. Actually, the cross step is super important. This becomes like a dance in time. Okay, all the strikes here are going to be drawn strikes for the fluidity of it, except the last one, which is a push strike. The last one from right on top. So let's make a sequence for you folks to rehearse. You'll notice if you do it with your soft swords that it calls for having a cross in the sword because all the parries end there. So that can be improvised with wood, or when we have wasters, or the sooner you get a real practice and turny sword, the better. Okay, so let's start from the top. He's going to attack me in Zornhau, Unterhau, Mittelhau, and Schädelhau. So diagonal from the top, diagonal from below, right down the middle, and end right on top. We're going to do it really slow. Enter my cross, he slides. Enter my cross, he slides. Enter my cross, he slides. Enter my cross, and he pushes. Okay, now to get out of here, I'll use my pommel or my forearm to get his sword out of the way, and here I got my next cut. Now he goes back and parries it nonetheless because we're going to follow up with the exercise. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This one is not drawn, it's pushed. Now he pushes me away with his pommel, and I can still parry the next one. 1, diagonal, 2, diagonal, 3, drawn, and 4. He pushes that one. I push him aside, but he still parries. 1, 2, 3, 4. And from here he pushes it away with the pommel, and I can still parry the next one. 1, 2, see, there, 3, and 4. Okay, so as you see, the thing in this play is about distances. Mantener una distancia de mí. So he's going to try to keep the right distance all the time from me, either offensively or defensively. If we're in a strike and I'm here, okay, that's a total different story. Then we go in a bind and we work in here from the bind. That's another whole set of techniques. And one more exercise, a longsword exercise that you can practice on your pal or on a spruce tree. If it doesn't bounce like this here guy, then that's better. As our friend Alex Cooley says, you don't want to get a rebound that helps you prepare the next strike. That's not like in real life. So with your left foot forward, if you're right-handed, this is the guard. Remember, in a sword, you grip as high as you can, and as low as you can on the grip for maximum leverage. This here is a complete waste of anybody's time and energy. This here is a complete waste of anybody's time and energy. Okay, this is how you grip the sword. That's why these friendly round pommels are so good for tourneys or for combat, because you can grip at the very end and have maximum leverage. Now, you have a single-handed sword exercise. Let's go practicing on the Pell. And when I say practice, I mean for hours. I mean, you folks have to get used to do, even just start every day with 100 strikes on each side and go from there. This is something where you have to have muscle memory built in. A couple of ways to use the blade on this one. Okay, if you're right-handed with your left foot forward, you move in and you strike to the head. This strike, depending on the height of the guy, it can even be a little bit below. The trick to this is that you're parrying at the same time as you strike. If the guy is striking you from above, this is where his strike is going to end, and you'll still be able to get him on the head. This is super useful, called a rasp strike, and there's a couple of ways to do it. The other classification about the sword that I forgot to say, as you hold it like this, where your fingers are pointing, that's called the long edge, and where it's pointing towards the hand, it's called the short edge. Of course, next time you may grab the sword like this. Now this is the long edge, and this is the short edge. Okay, I'll get into the history of that when we meet in person. The other thing, important thing to know, is that this is a strong of the sword, because here near your body, near your hands, you can exert leverage, and this is the upper half is the weak of the sword, because anybody pushing here will probably get the best of you. So these zones of the swords have to be taken into account. Now, as for the exercise, you can hit with the long edge, or you can hit with the short edge. If you notice here, it turns around in the air, and I'm hitting with a short edge, and I can assist my strike with a thumb under the blade if I do that. So, long edge, just like that, or short edge, I'm turning the blade around in the air, and then I hit like that. Now, one thing you want to practice is hitting with the short edge on one side, and then as you turn around, hit with the long edge on the other. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay? So, 1, 2. You see that? My thumb underneath. See that cross step that we were talking about before? Cross steps are going to be defining your technique as a good fencer. Doing short steps, half steps, or full steps, anybody can do that. Now, moving sideways away in cross steps and attacking as you parry, that's going to define your quality as a swordsman. But for now, let's say exercise at the Pell. First, that simple one with a long edge, hundreds of times. Boom. Put your body into it. The whole body attacks. It's not just the sword. I'm not doing this. I'm moving in with my whole body. And of course, in time, you'll have to do it fast. Of course, see, even if I slip, I'm in a stable position. Okay, what I don't want to see is this, where I'm out of balance. You want to do it fast and with reach. See how much reach I can get from here. Boom. See that? I still got him. But I'm always starting from a stable position and ending in a stable position. And the other exercise is with the short edge. Notice my thumb. And around. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And it's the whole body delivering the strike. So you should be thinking of spending hours on the Pell doing that, and the single-handed strike as well, with both arms, right arm and left arm. And next time we'll give some exercises to put the shield into it as well.